Hi, friends. This is Frank here. I am a professional job developer and recruiter. I am currently retired. However, I still consult people from time in and time out on current job issues and job related resumes and things of that nature. Today, I'm just going to talk briefly about what it will take to look for a new job. If you're thinking about quitting your job, don't do that until you first do a little homework and research. As a general rule, you should never quit a job until you are gainfully employed at another place. But let's start off by saying that in this video, I'm going to take the place or take the part of a job seeker. As a job seeker, we've all been there, done that. We've all made terrible mistakes. We've all done successful interviews. We've done bad interviews. So let me just start off by saying that this is a federal statistic that is still current for today. If somebody currently loses their job and begins to look for a new job, you want to know this, believe it or not. Majority of people will spend about 10 minutes within their first 60 days of unemployment. They will spend no more than 10 minutes looking for a new job. Now, come on, what can you do in 15 minutes a day? You can't even reach your emails in that amount of time. So if you think you're in the job search business, you haven't even begun. And by the time we get done here, I'm going to talk a little bit about, so I don't scare you away. We're going to talk a little bit about what an active job search should look like and what you should do on a daily basis. Okay, so let's begin. So let's say, for instance, I got my notice. 2 weeks, I'm out of work. So I finish up my 2 weeks, and now I'm home. So what should happen now? Well, typically I would suggest to clear your brain, get all the cobwebs out, take maybe a couple of days off, play with the kids if you're married, cut the lawn, do whatever, just clear the brain. And then after those couple of days, it's time to get down to work. And here's what I mean. Okay, your job search should be at least a minimum of 4 days a week and at least 5 hours a day. So we're probably talking maybe about 20 hours a week. Don't let that scare you, but that's what it's going to take to be in the game. So here's what I suggest. When you begin your job search, the first thing I would do is do what you were doing when you went to your full-time job. That is, get up, take a shower, have breakfast, do whatever you need to do, and then get to work. All right, and hopefully you have a quiet study place, a bedroom or whatever, a little office of your own where you can, get to work and not be disturbed. And when my kids were young, it was very hard. I was working a full-time job, but I was also starting my own computer business, and I was working from home, and let me tell you, it was very difficult. It was hard, first of all, to get my wife to keep the kids. My office was my bedroom, so of course the kids wanted to run in and out, so we finally got that taken care of, so then I can, be a little bit more dedicated with my time. All right, so here's what your day looks like. Okay, let's start off after breakfast. Okay, again, go to that quiet place where you can work, be alone. And the first thing that I would do, if you haven't looked at your resume or if you don't have a current resume, you have some work ahead of you. Because one of the things I really suggest, by the way, is that even if you are working, you should have an active resume at any given time. It should be up to date, for at least as current as possible. So this way, now that you're out of work, it won't be that difficult to go in and plug in some of the new things that need to be added, some of the other things that need to be deleted, whatever. Okay, so work on the resume. Now, here's the other thing that I suggest that you do to keep yourself organized. This is what I did. I created a very simple Excel spreadsheet. It doesn't have to be complicated, but what I do is I put the date, company name, contact person if there is a contact person, phone number, the job I applied for, and the date again that I applied for that job. And then to the far right, leave a place for comments or whatever. And the reason why you want to have this and separated by weeks, on Excel you have certain tabs. So what you want to do is like week one, week two, etc., and etc. Okay, so what I suggest that you do is into the second week, you want to go back and start following up on those job leads. Believe it or not, a lot of people never follow up on any of the jobs that they applied for. And that's a big mistake because if you call them, and even if you don't have a contact person, ask for the human resource person or recruiter. Introduce yourself and say, about a week or so ago, I applied for such and such a job, and I'm calling to get an update. You'll be surprised that sometimes by doing that, that may prompt them to say, please wait on the phone a minute. Let me see if I can find your resume. And lo and behold, sometimes they will if they have the time to do that. But anyway, follow up is very crucial, and keeping track of your job search is very crucial. Okay, so as I mentioned, you want to have maybe 20 hours a week that you're dedicating. You don't want to get into the habit of, now that I'm out of work, like some people will do, well, I guess it's time for me to catch up on my house duties. I'm going to start painting the house, and I'm going to wash the car and do all this, and run errands and all that. And before you know it, 6 months has gone by, and you probably, I bet, haven't even applied for 20 jobs. And you wonder why you're out of work so long. Okay. It's a numbers game, but along with the numbers game, you also want to be focused, and we'll talk about that a little later on, perhaps in another video. But again, I want to take the part right now of a job seeker and to help you to understand that what happens when you first become out of work. Okay. If you're married and if you have children, one of the things that I suggest, and especially if you have children from the age of 13 and up, I really suggest that you sit down and have a little powwow meeting with your family and explain, Dad's out of work now. These are perhaps some changes that may be happening, and keep them in the loop. Believe it or not, your wife and your children, without them even saying it, they're going to feel the stress as you are being out of work. They may not say anything to you, but again, they're going to take that burden to school with them. Your wife's going to take that burden to the kitchen as she's preparing meals. So it's important that everybody understand and be on the same page what we're doing here. All right. So with that being said, I think it's important that at the end of 20 hours after your first week, just sit and critique what you've been doing for that week. Did I update my resume? What does it look like? Do I need to get help from professional recruiters? And when I say professional recruiters, there are a lot out there that will give you free help. I've gotten the free help myself when it comes to resume writing and advice. Don't be afraid to ask. And if you find those that say, well, I'm willing to help you, but I charge, that's okay. Say, I'm sorry, but I'm not in that position right now, and just keep looking. LinkedIn.com. LinkedIn.com is a very important, it's sort of like Facebook, but for professional networking. If you don't belong to LinkedIn, I would suggest that you research LinkedIn and join as soon as possible, and begin to build your profile, add your resume. And also, I would suggest strongly that you begin to join groups that are like-minded in the industry that you belong to. So there are groups out there. Let's say, for instance, you're a machinist. You'll find groups out there that are like-minded. Maybe most of them are machinists or have been machinists, and join those groups, and give input, take input, and join as many groups as possible. I've done that in the past, and I find that to be a very valuable tool. You don't want to be a lone wolf out there in your job search. Sometimes we're afraid to ask, and when it comes to even friends and family, don't be afraid to ask and reach out. You say, um, I'm currently looking for such and such a job, and perhaps you can help. And believe this or not, if you belong to a church, you're not going to really fully appreciate that church until you start asking your pastor and people in the church. By the way, how many people are unemployed right now? Oh, you may find out that maybe 5%, 10%, depending on the size of your church you're at work. So work together. Try to build some harmony together. But the idea is you want to network as soon as possible. You want to get out there and you want to just do whatever you can to just let everybody know I'm looking for a job. This is what I'm looking for. And when we talk about looking for a job, don't make the mistake that many make. And what I mean by that is just don't start applying for every job that comes along. And again, if you're a machinist, why are you bothering applying for McDonald's as a cook? Okay, that has nothing to do with your industry. Now, I'll also say this to you, okay? It will take you as long to find a good job as it is a bad job. What do I mean by that? You might spend countless hours applying for Walmart, Taco Bell, all of them, and you know what? When they see the type of person you are in your resume, they're not even going to bother calling you. So keep focused on the industry at hand, okay? It may take a little longer, but you know what? When I say a little longer, a few more hours a week isn't going to hurt to make sure that you're in line to the job that you're willing to do and able to do and capable and have the skills to do. Also, look at this as an opportunity to move on and perhaps even make more money than you made before. Many times in my own life, in my job search, I thought at first, man, this is a downer, I'm out of work. But you know what? It proved to be very successful for me because I not only made more money, but I acquired new skills moving to the other employer while bringing my other skills along. So when you think about your job search, look at it as a very fivefold way of viewing it. Okay, so I mean that here's an opportunity again to grow. Here's an opportunity to make more money. Here's an opportunity maybe to start doing other things that you never thought you can possibly do. I've worked from home. I've done consulting work. I've done a lot of things that at first I never even thought I was capable of doing until I just started doing it. Again, I mentioned about years ago I started my own computer business. Through that, I was surprised to find out that doctor offices, like tax consultants and places like that, like H&R Block and whatever, they buy computers from personal people like me. And you know what I did? I built a good network system. I sold a lot of systems to people in doctors' offices and whatever. I taught their staff how to run their systems. And at that time, I provided them a 12-month free on-site warranty if anything happened. Hey, Best Buys isn't going to do that for you. Geek Squad isn't going to do that for you. And by the way, if you recently bought a new computer and a few months down the road something happens to it, guess how much tech support that's going to cost you? Yeah, I was surprised at first. Many years ago, I called Microsoft and they wanted $75 for the consultation, and they weren't even helping me. I mean, they were going down the wrong path, and I'm just saying, no, no, no. I learned the hard way. That there's a lot of free help out there if you're just willing to take the time and learn. Maybe this is a good chance to interject something here. There's on your phone. I don't know if you ever dialed 211, not 911, 211. 211 is an informational system that is set up to help you with anything that you may think of. You simply call a 211 operator and you state what you're looking for, where you're looking for, and believe me, they're a wealth of knowledge and information. They have a huge database set up all throughout the United States. So keep that in the back of your mind too. 211 information. When it comes to other information such as friends and family, one thing beware. Sometimes well-meaning friends and family, because they love us, they know us, but quite frankly, sometimes they'll give you wrong advice. They'll say to you, you know what, Frank? You've been out of work a couple of months now. Don't you think you ought to just go flap hamburger somewhere? No. And they may look down upon you. Well, gee, isn't having a job better than no job? And you know what I tell them? Yeah, it is better having no job than to do what you want me to do. And quite frankly, that's why there's a lot of college graduates today, believe it or not, who are making minimum wage after college because they never learned how to network, they never learned how to use and apply what they learned in college all those years. Isn't it sad? Now they have all this debt, student loans and personal loans, and they're right back working for Carl's Jr., Starbucks, whatever. And matter of fact, just about a year ago, I was watching the news, and there was a young lady on. She just graduated with a PhD degree. And you know what she's doing? She went back to Starbucks because she couldn't find a job in her field. Okay? So, again, that's where networking comes in. Okay, so let's get back again to what we're talking about, your job search. I mentioned about keeping track on a Excel spreadsheet. We talked about your resume. If you feel you need help with your resume and you're just not getting it, again, try to reach out to people who will help you free of charge. The best help, quite frankly, that I've ever received, I haven't paid a dime for. And I've also given free advice to people. I've sat down with people and consulted them. Sometimes I've even given an hour or two of my time just to help somebody. So don't be afraid to pay it forward, even in the situation that you're in. Sometimes by paying it forward, it helps you to move on to your next step. All right. Well, in this video, I just wanted to kind of highlight some of the things that I'm going to be talking about further. But keep some of these things in mind that I talked about. Hit the like button down below. If you have any comments, concerns, whatever questions, feel free to ask me. When I get around to it, I definitely will. Thank you and have a good day.